All right, I'm going to walk you through how to solve these problems, and I want you to do the exact same steps with me. We're going to go through the very first one. So number one says a simple beam concentrated load. So I want you to draw that beam, and we have a force here. So I'm going to call this force A, FA, and at B is FB, because you're holding up that beam on both sides, so there has to be a force upward on the left side and the right side. So we're going to call that A and B because the left is A and the right is B. We also have a force down, that's P, P1, and from the instructions above, now that we've drawn our picture, from the instructions above it said that P equals 500 pounds. So we can write that down also. So the first thing we need to do is we need to sum. So this little sign there means sum. We need to sum our forces, and they are always going to equal 0. So that means that the forces going up have to equal the forces going down. So what I can do is I can say, put a little arrow there, say that FA plus FB will equal P, and in this case that's 500. So I don't really have to do anything more for that one. I'm just going to put a box around that. That's done. So check, we've done the sum of the forces. The next thing we have to do is do a sum of the torques. And torque is force times distance. So I'm going to write that up here. Torque equals force times distance. And right now we have our force, a force, and a force. And from the picture, it also gives you those distances. This is a distance of 0. This is a distance of 16, and this right here was a distance of 4 feet. So we have a force and a distance, a force and a distance, a force and a distance. So we just multiply each of those and add them. Now, since the upward forces are pointing up, they're going to be on one side. So this is kind of supposed to be an arrow like that. We have FA times, and that distance is 0. So FA times 0, force times distance, plus FB times 16, and they equal the downward forces. So in this case, we only have one downward force, and that force, remember, is 500 pounds times 4 feet. So you can see clearly FA times 0, that's going to be 0. That cancels out. So I have 16 FB. I like to put the 16 first. 16 times FB equals 500 times 4, which is 2,000. And then if I divide by 16, then FB equals 125. So I'll put a box around that. So I know FB is 125. Well, then I have to go back up to here, and FA plus, now instead of FB, I can put in 125. So FA plus 125 is 500. Subtract 125 from both sides, and FA equals 375 pounds. And I need to make sure I have units on there, pounds. So hopefully that makes sense. FA is 375 pounds. FB is supporting 125 pounds. If you look at your picture, FA is over on this side. The force, that point source, is a lot closer to FA, so it's supporting more. FB is supporting less. So it makes sense that FA is 375, FB is 125. If we add them together, we get a total of 500 pounds. So it checks out. So that is an example of how to do the first problem. Let's take a look at the second one.